Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Already. And good morning and welcome to Spotlight Keene.
Good morning.
I was like Keene Spotlight or Spotlight Keene. It's actually however you look at it. You could say Keene Spotlight or Spotlight Keene. I'm Chris Coates.
I'm Randy Filio.
And we're back for another week of just conversation about what's going on in the region. And
it is early though.
Beyond that,
it is only 11 o'clock, so it is early. So we have to excuse us here. It is another week.
Yeah. So I got some things. You've got some things. So I don't know how you want to go about it.
You know, just the way we always do. You just wing it and see what happens.
First and foremost, it's Randy's birthday today.
It is.
So
it is.
I think he just hit 50.
39 for the second time.
Yeah. And so happy birthday.
Thank you.
And any big celebrations in place?
It's 34
today?
for the second time. You
like
can't even do my math.
You know.
Now I had a...
You're celebrating. You get up in the morning. Right?
Meeting, yeah. I celebrate. I get up and I'm vertical. I'm like, another good day.
Yeah.
No, meetings, and more meetings. Had a meeting this morning with Kevin Watterson of the Swamp Bats, getting ready for an upcoming season.
Yeah.
Then I come here, and then I have a school board committee meeting tonight. So. Did
you ask him to come on?
I did, and he's going to. Yeah.
All right.
Whenever we want him, he'll be on. The season's right around the corner. Got a lot of good players coming to the Swamp Bats this year. Hopefully nobody gets hurt or blows their arm out before the season starts. So he's really excited about the players that are coming this year. So
good.
Looks good. He's really excited about this season.
All right. So let's start off right with roads. Okay. Your favorite topic, I know.
Roads and potholes and bridges, right?
But
does it start off with Gilson Street by any chance?
No, not at all.
Oh,
no.
Good.
No, let's start with West Street.
Yep.
Is that like in line to get some level of coating on there? Because, and here's the other thing is, a lot of what you guys have done over the last years, like on Court Street, is you've done like this thin coating. It's not like a real.
The truth is, Chris, we haven't done anything since you got off City Council.
That's pretty much. You're right. Yeah.
We failed miserably without you. Waiting for you to come back.
Yeah. But I'm just wondering. Do you have in that CIP plan book you have over there the list, like is like some of the main arteries going to get a little love this year?
I don't, but I'll bring all of that next week.
The old
well, if you let me know a little bit ahead of time, I can do these things.
You got to know this stuff.
Well, West Street,
I
tell you, West Street for 2029, 2030, which sounds like a long ways off. But it comes up on quick. West Street is going to be completely redone.
What's that mean? You're going to put this stuff underneath the ground?
Pretty much, yeah. Sidewalks. Well, if you get on West Street now, I mean, the telephone poles are in the middle of the sidewalk in some cases, all the way down West Street. And so, yes, it's going to be a complete overhaul, ripped up, sidewalks ripped up, utilities put underground, and just modernized. So, I mean, between now and then, there could obviously be some tweaks and changes, but that's the plan. That's going to be the next major. Not the next major overhaul, Lower Winchester Street's next major overhaul in downtown. And then after that, just so people don't get comfortable, we'll be tearing up West Street. So, yeah, it's going to be major renovation. It's just getting little fixes here and there, little pothole fixes.
Is there a short-term thing you can do, or is it just that we're going to, until 2029, we're going to live with the? I mean, it's some of the places like on Winchester Street, West Street. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't mean that as in you're not doing your job. I mean, if people are coming into the city, these are some of our main arteries.
Yep.
And I know there's streets in our communities and our neighborhoods that are probably even worse condition. I get that. But these are the ones that get driven on the most.
Well, the good news is Marlborough Street is due to finally get fixed this year because, as we mentioned before, it was a combination state project, and they went in over budget, and the state said, we don't have any more money. Sorry. But supposedly the state has found enough money so it'll get fixed this year. Because if you come down Marlborough Street, especially at night with cars coming the other way, you just see the headlights going bonk, bonk,
Yeah, constantly,
bonk. Yeah, so Marlborough Street.
How's that a state project? Is that an 80-20? Is that
It
what
was,
you're saying?
yeah. But the budget, it just went over what they had figured.
Well, I bet you didn't. I bet you they go over the budget in 93, 95, but that doesn't seem to stop them.
No, in the Marlborough Street one, compared to what you're talking about over on that side of the state, it's just pennies. I mean,
and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why can't they give us a few more why can't they find the money?
Well, as we've joked before, they finally realized that Keene's not in Vermont.
Yeah.
And it actually probably surprised a few of them over there. So.
Yeah.
But I know if you go over to Manchester, Nashua, Portsmouth, the amount of extensive highway work over there is incredible. And all we ask for is an occasional paving of help paving a street. And it's like pulling teeth. But, West Street, there's nothing... As far as I know, there's nothing major on the horizon for them other than stop gaps. But I'll check to see if there's going to be any type of not a complete overhaul, but minor fixings. I know Lower Winchester Street. Well, downtown obviously is the next one, and then Lower Winchester Street.
I mean, you think all these people that are bringing their kids into Keene State College, all these families are bringing their kids into Keene State College to see if they want to go to Keene State College. Mm-hmm. Now, the campus itself is just beautiful. The work they've done throughout the years, it's just been outstanding. And I say this all the time. I think Keene State College is a real jewel when it comes to the beauty of the campus. Mm-hmm. Dartmouth is great, but their buildings are just so huge. They're just... But there seems to be some chemistry to what they've done with Keene State College.
Well, we'd also talked about...
But the roads around it...
Yeah, we talked about Winchester Street also. I was talking to Mayor Khan about that. And, of course, where they just tore down the 2 old dorms on Winchester Street. We've had talk about, fixing Winchester Street from the Island Street Bridge to downtown. But we don't want to do anything yet because Antioch is going to be building new buildings there. So we don't want to go doing any major modifications right now because then with Antioch going in there, obviously with the utilities, they'll be ripping the street up again. So actually what you're saying is actually something Mayor Khan's been saying. Of course, he used to be vice president at Keene State, so he's very familiar with how people from the outside, look at Keene when they come in. The good news for Keene State is, I don't know if you saw the U.S. News and World Report, Keene State finished extremely high on their list in the favorability ratings, and that's boding very well for Keene State. But yeah, it is an issue. People come in and they obviously look at the streets, but obviously Winchester Street and Island Street Bridge, and of course I don't know if it's going to be a pro or a con when they come to Keene and visit Keene and see half of downtown torn up. But
pro or con?
Pro or con? Oh yeah, very good. That's good. Pro or a J-con. Wow, you're wide awake already.
Yeah.
But it's funny, Chris, whenever you hear people talk about city councilors when we get involved in other things, and they go, "Damn it, just fix the roads and bridges and be done with it. Don't do anything else." Then you fix roads and bridges. Like, why are you fixing the roads and bridges? You're getting in our way.
Well, when is Island Street done?
Soon.
What does that mean? Soon.
Soon, within our lifetime.
Yeah, okay.
It's supposed to be the bridge right now. It got pushed back to April. What happened? Well, a couple things happened with Island Street. One, Liberty Utilities wanted to put a gas line there, which delayed things. Okay, and then the latest delay was, of course, they have to.
I thought they weren't able to do that.
That's another story for another day. And then they were pounding moorings in some of the old buildings on Island Street. They were getting a little bit of cracks in the foundations.
Yeah.
So they had to take it a little bit easier, getting some of the moorings in. The word is it will be by May 1st. That bridge will be up and running.
You just said April, and now it's May.
Well, by May 1st.
Okay.
By May 1st, which is the first day after the end of April, at least according to my calendar. That's the plan.
Yeah, but you heard him. He said April, and then he said May.
Before May 1st.
And next it's going to be June.
Before May 1st, which is April.
By the end of the summer.
I didn't say which year. I just said April. But that's the plan. That's the plan.
So because...
And people are going to have to be careful when that bridge opens. Because right now, we've gone a long time now with a new roundabout there. People kind of just zip around. You have to kind of pay attention with the cars coming out of Island Street now, because that's going to pick up heavier. The good news is the cars coming out of Emerald Street near the pub, that'll quiet down, because right now all the cars come out of there, and as you know, there are no red lights there. It's just a stop sign. That's a tough intersection now. So,
Ralston Street.
Ralston, rather. Excuse me.
Ralston Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That, to be honest with you,
tough
I mean, if you could talk Keene State into it, that should be a single lane roundabout right there, because it's almost impossible to turn left there.
Yeah. Yeah. That would, of course, that wouldn't be a state project. That'd be strictly on the city.
Understood.
So it'd have to be, you're right, city/college if they wanted to do a joint venture there.
Yeah.
So maybe if the college has a couple of extra bucks from ticket sales from their sporting events, maybe they can kick it into a roundabout.
Yeah. So, well, why you said that? So Keene State College men on to the Sweet 16.
Ooh, good segue. Yeah.
They played well. I did have a chance to go see them on Friday, but I was unable to actually get to the game. I had a ticket to go and wasn't able to get there. But
that's half the battle, Chris. When you get a ticket,
you know what? But part of me said I don't want to. I've gone to that gym so many times.
Are you the jinx?
I do believe. I mean, if it's not Conant High School or Keene High School or Keene State College, I don't know if I've ever watched a winning game there. and I wasn't going to ruin this run by being present. And everybody can laugh about it, but that's how I really think. That if I didn't want, I don't know if I ever remember watching a game where a team has won. And so I was like, no, not happening. Now I went down to Pratt Gym, which is a phenomenal old school gym. If you watch the movie Hoosiers, go to Pratt Gym in Jaffrey, New Hampshire, where you are sitting on the court. You are literally sitting on the court, and it's just a lot of fun. And they always have quality basketball, whether it's this year it was the boys, the 4 years prior to that, it was the girls and somewhat of the boys. But
you hang out with Jaffrey a lot. You mentioned Jaffrey a lot. I think
no, it's just Jaffrey. You should go down there. I mean, first and foremost, go look online, see what the Park Theater is doing for movies or entertainment. It is one of the best small venues in the region by far. By far, there is not a bad seat in that place. They have a nice bar when you walk in. They have some sitting areas too, so if you are there early, it's not like you're sitting waiting to go in. You can sit and relax and enjoy each other's company. They have a private room upstairs that you can rent out for parties. It's just a nice venue, and they get some good stuff in there. And then they've got some good. I mean, you got the Dublin Tap Room, and you've got some other places over there that are just it's a nice little community that's worked hard to recreate itself. It's got a roundabout coming in. I don't know when, but it does have a roundabout in the downtown area.
There you go.
But yeah, I like Jaffrey. If you look at Cheshire County as a whole, there's a lot of exciting things. I've talked about Westmoreland before, and I've talked about the Barn and Thistle and what that's had to do with the downtown community there. It's just made it a downtown stopping place. And then you've got, and it's a great little cafe with great foods. Open early in the morning until about 3 in the afternoon, and then the town hall is really working hard at they're revitalizing the town hall and doing some work there, and then they've got the new fire station that the voters passed.
Yeah.
So
that's speaking about fire stations, we're jumping all over the place here, but that's okay. It's going to be interesting to see if Swansea voters approve a new fire station.
Is this six times the charge?
They always vote majority. The majority always vote for it, but with their bond issue, they need like 3/5, and they always fall a little bit short. Yeah. I think they're going to have to, if it fails this year, they're going to have to look at a new funding mechanism where they can just go with majority vote.
Yeah.
But you have to have it, because even when I was on the call department, and one of the things Swansea's talked about is your washers and dryers for equipment. Back even when I was there, you'd come back from a fire, just hang up your gear, and wash it occasionally. A lot of carcinogens get on your equipment, and you need to wash them after every call. And a regular washer and dryer do not handle fire gear.
This would allow the center station there, that's underneath Town Hall.
Yeah.
And when they start up the trucks, and all of a sudden this, that fume, that the people have smelled the fumes up there. That's just a situation waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they can pass what they need to pass and go forward from there. But
kudos to Westmoreland, because they did. And they're a small town. It's not, fire equipment and fire stations are not cheap.
Yeah.
But neither is firefighters getting cancer. And more they're showing that over time, firefighters got cancer from exposure to fumes and carcinogens after the fire.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, I don't know. I had a fire at my house, and I was in the house prior to the fire department getting there, saying, "What is that smell?" And it was rubber or plastic burning.
That electrical smell stinks.
But it was also insulation starting to burn, and those fumes and all that other, aside from the wood, it was all these other things that were starting to and that's what you're talking about. It's all the other. The wood is the wood for the most part, but it's this other substance that really is dangerous.
It's like when I see talking about fires, when you see some of these small towns, see them on YouTube, Facebook, be a car fire, volunteer firefighter, whatever, gets out of the truck, walks out, puts those no mask on, just hits the car fire. The fumes from car fires are some of the most dangerous fires that you can get involved in. When you think about a car, the materials and all the fluids that are in a car when there's a fire, they're deadly. And they're trying to educate a lot of these small towns. It doesn't matter if there's a car fire, the firefighters go full gear, because you start breathing that stuff in over time, it'll kill you.
Well, what about that? What about the Tesla burns?
You've
seen
the batteries,
and they burn and they burn and they burn. I mean, they go on for hours.
Yep.
And I don't know if they've come up with a substance to really put out a battery yet. I don't know. Maybe they have, but I saw two on YouTube where they just let them burn.
Yeah. Yep. Let them burn themselves out.
And it was a dark burn.
Stuff's toxic.
Yeah.
So anyhow, talking about fire stations. Yep. Hopefully, I feel for Swansea. Like I said, they voted it yes like 4 or 5 times in a row. They just don't get enough votes. But that's important. You've got to protect your firefighters, especially in Swansea, where you got a couple of full-time guys. But for the most part, they're all volunteers. They might get paid a little stipend, but you're asking them to risk their lives, and you're not even going to give them up-to-date equipment. So kudos to Westmoreland for the voters over there taking care of them.
Going back to the Keene State College boys, though,
all the way back around,
the men's basketball team did an outstanding job this weekend. They pushed off Marymount, and then what was the other team? Boy, I'm blanking. But they're heading down to Greensboro, North Carolina, to play Guilford College. Now, Guilford in national rankings was 11th, and Keene State was 13th. And so it should be Friday at 7:15. It should be a good game. But if they play like they did the other night and they hit their shots, that's what it comes down to. If they're hitting their shots, they can beat anybody on that.
Where's
given
Guilford
night.
from?
Guilford, that's where they're going. At Greensboro,
they're going to their gym.
Yeah. So
even though Keene was ranked higher.
No, they weren't. No, Keene State wasn't ranked higher.
Well, Keene was ranked better.
No, it wasn't.
No, they weren't.
No.
Oh.
No, because they would have been had they not lost that last game in the league game. They have 3 losses, and that third loss bumped them down. They were like 7th.
Oh, is that what that was?
And then they got bumped. They lost that game, and they got bumped out. And then they came back in the LECs and beat the team that beat them. So
here's my prediction.
Crushed them.
My prediction is Keene's going to blow this team out. I was listening to Abe from Keene State talking on the radio this morning about the team that they're playing. The team that they're playing is a half-court team. They walk the ball down slowly, and they're methodical. They have one top player on the team. He's only like 6'1", 6'2", so he's not that big. And he is their scoring machine. They don't really have a number 2, 3, 4, 5 guy. So they're really feeling if they smother him, they should be in pretty good shape. But Keene...
Well, the other thing,
Keene's up
running.
and down the court.
Yeah.
Keene's a fast team. This other team is methodical. They'll come down the court deliberately.
But Keene, what Keene can do is pressure the hell out of them.
I think so.
Because
I think so.
So
Coach Filio, we'll get there. We'll show them.
If they get into their game, then that's a mistake. I would love to be able to... I need to get a private jet. That's what I need.
I called Taylor Swift. I never went to one of her concerts. I did see something on TV, so I guess I'm a Swiftie now. Or maybe we can call Kelsey and just borrow the jet. He seems to get on it quite a bit, Or we can, we'll just call Rick Cohen at CNS. Maybe he'll give us a ride.
Yeah. And going back to Keene State College, I think I know people. Some say, "What does Keene State College bring to us?" And blah blah blah. It's like they bring a lot. They bring a huge level of revenue into this community
lot
on
of revenue.
multiple different levels.
They're one of the biggest employers in Keene too. So.
Yeah, and it's a good partnership. And over the years, Keene State has had to, compared to prior years, they weren't really paying at the level they needed to be paying to the city of Keene. But over the years, the city of Keene has pushed them to do more,
Yep.
and really, really do what they can to make sure that they're paying their fair share, and they have on some levels.
Dr. Treadwell's done a really good job. Of course, she's a graduate of Keene State, and so basically she's pretty much from the area her whole adult life, and it makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. Then you have a president. It's just like Jay Kahn now being mayor. It makes a difference when you have people that are vested in your community, rather than using like some of the previous Keene State presidents. It was just a resume stop, and I've never liked that. I think in Keene you need a little bit, more of a background with Keene. It just makes a better president. Look at, Dr. Treadwell really cares, and it shows.
Yeah, but I also think it's yeah, she's a graduate, so that and I can't do anything but sing her praise. But Doc Y was a great president, I thought too, but it was because he was personable. He was everywhere, like Melinda is.
Right.
Telling the story of Keene State College, walking along the campus and talking to students and being very approachable.
Right. No, you're right.
And so
you were on city council with me when Dr. Y was president, right?
Yeah.
And he was the last president until Dr. Treadwell.
I would
in
agree with
between, Chris, it was a bad run.
It
was a bad run.
And I just think that they whatever reason, I think they went into this is their kingdom, or
Right.
this is their little thing, and the relationship building wasn't as strong as it is with Melinda or what it was with Doc Y. And that's too bad, because I think Keene State suffered during that period of time. It had a lot of individuals that worked on there, like Mayor Kahn and others that were very, very active in the community, but at the same time, the leader is the president of the college, and
Yep.
if people are invested and have that relationship, I just think it's healthy for everybody involved.
Yep.
And so
but you're right. Getting back to what you started from about finances, Keene State, the students spend a lot of money in Keene, and their employees. It's like I said, it's one of the largest employers in Keene. So yes, they don't pay taxes on the buildings because they're not-for-profit college, but without Keene State, we'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
Between the jobs and the amount of money that students spend in this community.
Yeah,
we couldn't. Keene really wouldn't survive without them. We'd be a totally different area with a totally different tax base, and it wouldn't be good.
Well, I think it's one of those things where we need to do whatever we can on our side, and I'm a taxpayer in the city of Keene, that we needed to make sure that the surrounding areas are something that are nice, like the redoing of the downtown on whatever level that ends up happening, which I'm totally confused about.
Me too, and I'm there.
That's scary, but I think will be helpful. It's a selling point when the colleges across America right now are looking at a 25% student drop in attendance in colleges for multiple reasons. The biggest one being birth rate. People aren't having as big a families as they've had in the past, but also there are kids that are choosing. You have a young man who's running for school board, whose father is a college professor at Keene State College, who chose not to go the college route but go into the workforce because that's what he wanted to do. And as part of it is he probably doesn't want to carry the level of debt.
Right.
And I think we shoot ourselves across America in the foot on a regular basis on not making it so that colleges, at least on the community college level, more accessible as accessible as we possibly can. In some states that it's really just about free to go to community college for 2 years. And that's a stepping stone to either the workforce or whatever it may be. But, Keene State College also brings a bunch of young people into our communities. And if Keene State College is doing their due diligence, they're getting them internships in our community in manufacturing, in safety, in education. and healthcare, and those people may have a choice to stay here. We don't build the feeder system for tomorrow, we're doomed. So anything, people say Keene doesn't offer anything. They bring 2,500 to 3,000 students into our community who have the ability to find a career here in this county and in the region. And that's something that we should be jumping all over. Franklin Pierce, same thing. They bring whatever the amount of population they have over there into Franklin Pierce, and there's an opportunity for those people to stay here if we can help with that process.
And you're right, Chris, and I think the timing's right. Of course, like you just said, Mayor Kahn was the vice president of Keene State for years. His relationship with Keene State, with Dr. Treadwell, is excellent, and he's doing exactly that. Having the communication about trying to get students more active in the community, because this growing up in Keene, Chris, it was Keene and Keene State for years. It was just Keene and Keene State, where you can still talk to a lot of people, I guess, slightly older, maybe around our age, and a lot of them have never even gone onto the Keene State campus ever. You have people living in Keene that have never gone on the campus, and that's a shame. Now recently with the sports doing so well, I think more people have gone onto the campus than they have before. But it's still a work in progress. Not only do we need the students to come into the community, we need the community to go onto the campus, and because Keene State, once they're here, our population goes up between students and teachers. Goes up to between 3,000 and 4,000 people. They're a big chunk of our population. So you're right. I mean, we need to collaborate a lot more, and we need some of those students to stay here. Of course, you need the jobs for them to stay here also. And that's another story for another day.
And I think the other thing that the people need to remember too is, like with us, what you're talking about, the Swansea Fire Department, costs aren't going down. My brother, it was on the school board up in Pomfret, Vermont, which is right next to Woodstock, Vermont, and they have the second worst high school / middle school in the state of Vermont, because it was built over 80 years ago, and it just needs a lot of love, right? So they're looking at building a new high school / middle school. They're looking at $99 million.
That's incredible.
And people of course are like, how do we afford that? The Vermont has said that they'll pay a certain portion of all that jazz. I mean, that's how we did it out here. If we were the last middle school or school district to get the funding bill. So, we bonded for $36 million, but the state is paying at the end of each year. The state sends us a check for 57% of that. And so and it's what I said to this Monadnock School District. Lisa Witt, who was the superintendent until this year, she retired. But I said to her, will you make sure you tell people the real story here is, if the state has said that they're going to support you at 50% of the cost, and it's $44 million, you're bonding for $44 million, but you're paying for $22 million. And I said it on the radio to her when she came in, when I was still on the radio then, because I said, you're missing the point. And people they see this big number, but the reality is, if the state is going to step up and do that, then this is what you're really bonding for, not this.
Right. And every year that you delay it, those costs are not going down.
That is correct. And I mean, like, the good thing about, on the county's perspective, really, knock on wood, we've done. I mean, in 2027, the Department of Corrections bond is completed. So really, we have some smaller bonds that we have, but for the most part, the biggest bond we still have is the nursing home, and that's it. And we've, over the years, taken care of all our facilities. So yeah, we may have a year where we have to come up with anywhere between $200,000 to $800,000 for something that we have to do internally, but that's not bonding. That we would find one way or the other, through grants or whatever it may be, and or savings or whatever. We don't have a big project that I can really think of unless we do solar. And I will tell you, you guys may have a great experience with the solar portion of it. I have not been able to find someone that can tell me within a short period of time the reward is right with what you have to then pay. And it's been anywhere between small of 4, 5, 6 million to a big hit of 13, 14 million, and it's just like it just doesn't make sense to me at this point. And I'm a solar guy. I mean, I'm looking at seeing if I can put it on my house and do behind the meter, kind of thing. But the bottom line is the payoff has got to be somewhere in the near future and not 30 years down the road. Because you're not getting your bang for your buck. You're doing it just because you're doing it.
At some point, the major oil companies, which are, still making an absolute killing, will get involved in solar. But you're right, companies only do it when they see a big return on investment. But these major oil companies, I think a penny wise and pound foolish sometimes because they still want to go with the fossil fuels. But they could jump on solar and do it so cheaply and have a great return on investment. But I think until those major companies like them get on board, I think you're right, Chris. It's so marginal of a return on investment, and that's why people don't do it.
I mean, I've been looking at this for 5 years, and I won't pull a trigger on a project unless I'm directed to. But I won't pull a trigger on a project unless I clearly think I have something that's going to be beneficial in the long run.
Right.
Yeah. Could I put a bunch of solar panels on top of the corrections facility? Yes, I could do that.
Hey, speaking of the corrections facility, jumping, does the county get revenues? I mean, you hear a lot about the, of course, at the particular location up on Route 101. We talked about this last week a little bit. How you hold federal prisoners awaiting trial. Does the county get revenue from the feds while you're holding those? Does that kind of go into the coffers of the county? So is that one of those things that it's worthwhile to the local corrections facility to hold federal prisoners? The reason that came to mind was because he talked a little bit about last week, the individual that just got arrested for that murder up in Berlin that was caught down behind Applebee's in Keene. I hear he's being held at that facility.
I would think temporarily. I think he'd probably be brought to the site of the murder.
He's being held there while awaiting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You would be surprised who we've held there in the years past. You'd be shocked.
Yeah. Some popular names.
Yeah. But yes, you're asking about federal inmates. Yes. Currently, we have a total population of federal and local of about 110. And I would say 60 of those are maybe 65 of those are local, and the rest are either Fed inmates or mostly from Vermont, some from New Hampshire, and very few, but yes, on occasion, some from Rhode Island. We receive $105 a day. For each individual.
I think you ought to
we
raise
don't
the
have
rates.
We until this year we were the highest daily rate in the state of New Hampshire.
Really?
And now there's one that's at 108. And so I think we can look at different things. Like we get paid. There's a lot of interesting things when it comes to inmates. In the federal inmates, in that, when I first came in, we were averaging about 12 or 15. I think last year we averaged about 45.
So you come in, you take over, and the inmate population goes up.
No, the federal inmates, and it's because we went up and we met with the U.S. Marshals on a bi-yearly basis, and we just said this is what we want to do. This is where we were comfortable with the number. And this was with Superintendent Van Wickler and then Superintendent Yazway, and we brought the number up. We've had as high as 55, and it generates a level of revenue. It doesn't increase our staffing numbers because our facility holds over 200. and we're at 110. It doesn't increase our staffing numbers because we also, you don't come in there and you're a federal inmate and you're over here. You get, what's the word? Categorized. But like you're either, you're in either this block, or this block. And you're either a criminal that made a mistake, a criminal that is starting to get a record, or somebody that we need to really keep an eye on. And all of them, I mean, and then we have the female unit, that's all just one. And it works out well. We have isolation too for those individuals. But the only real cost is food. So all the other revenue that's coming in for that goes back to taxes. So, the great thing is that the commissioners and the delegation, over the years, we said we'd increase this number and we'd send $1 million back to taxes. Great. And we were averaging about 1.4 at the time, million. And so that other 400 I was able to then use as one-time projects that we needed to get completed on any facility. Like we needed, we had boilers that were from 1979, and we need to get rid of those. Or we got rid of them, we put in heat pumps, or just condensers that were really old, whatever it may be, so that never went to the budget. That was taken care of out of those monies. And we're to a point now after 8 years, 9 years almost, that we're at a point where those projects are less and less. They're always going to be there, but they're getting less and less. And so that all that money, like last year, was almost 1.9 million that went back towards taxes, and that's a consistent. That's something that we're starting to see. 45 to 50 is something that we're averaging on a yearly basis, and we do a very good job. We have a federal liaison, Scott McLaughlin, who works at the DOC. He is outstanding at the work he does. We also get paid for transportation hourly and miles. So if we have to take him up to Rutland to the courthouse or up to Burlington to the courthouse, we're getting paid for that, and that includes overtime and stuff like that. And then the other thing that's different, if a federal inmate gets sick, the feds pay for it. If after 30 days somebody is on Medicaid, that Medicaid goes away and the county has to take care of that. And that's something that we've been working with, that Congresswoman Custer actually has some bills that we've been working with her on for a period of time now, that we just think it's unfair that the burden has to fall on the taxpayer, that overall, the local taxpayer, that if these people have Medicaid, why does it go away after 30 days? It's just a law that's been in place. And they should be able to keep that, and it lessens the burden, and it keeps our budget here, because we've had people that have had dialysis, and if you don't think that taking somebody 2 or 3 days a week to get dialysis done, it's a cost. And so it's been a balancing act that we've done for years, but the bottom line is what we're finding is that the feds, there's some real benefits to it. And some people say, well, you're bringing in more higher level of criminal, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, on some levels, you're not wrong, but they're all waiting trial.
Right.
They're all waiting trial. And they want, for the most part, they want to act the way level they need to, because if they don't, that's going to be reflected in their trial. That's one. Two is they also know that this is a great place to be compared to other facilities. It's clean. The food is good. We hear that constantly. And they don't like that we have a lot of checks going on, like, checking the rooms and things like that. But the bottom line is that they, if they don't behave, we can just say, you need to take them. Whereas the local, we're stuck with, unless we send them up to the prison.
So what's the population up there right now of inmates approximately?
Anywhere between 100 to 120.
What's the max that can hold up there?
256, I think.
Really? 256? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's doubling up.
But you'd have to have probably a few more personnel if you get that high, do you think? No?
No.
It's just...
Yeah, no, if you ever take a tour up there, there's a person in a pod, but there's eyes in the sky and there's people ready to go if need be.
Right.
So, it's a system that works.
Good.
And, and it's not, I call them the unsung.
Is there an outdoor gym like a basketball court up there at all? I know.
There's no, it's a basketball court that they do have a court where there's basketball and other balls that are out there, but they have up in the top. It's like this opening up there that they have so they can get fresh air, but there's no
It's
like
basically an indoor court.
But there's only
almost like a small retractable roof, huh?
Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
But so it's indoors.
Yeah, everything's indoors, and yeah, it's an intense life, and the work up there is intense work that our individuals go through every single day, but they do it well, and we've been fortunate to have the skill level that we've had up there and the leadership that we've had up there. So but I think it's a benefit to the community that we have these inmates there, because I think that it helps offset our costs too, and we have a rhythm to it now after 8 years of doing it.
That was a great 15-minute education on the. Because I had some questions that I wasn't sure of, and I've had some people ask me to ask you. Because fortunately, I've been up there to check it out a couple times. Never been an inmate there. Don't plan on that. But
you ever been a guest?
I've gone up to say hi a couple. I dropped off some books one day, and it was when Van Wickler was there. So it's been a little while since I've been up there. But for most part, because of where it's located up on the hill and back, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. You don't really.
Yeah.
It's not imposing. You know what I mean? You don't. It's not like in Manchester, you go by the Valley Street Jail, or in Concord, you go by the state prison, which is a very depressing looking area.
Yeah.
I can see why they'd want to go there, not the New Hampshire State Prison, especially. But that's a depressing looking place.
But if you look at the jail, and then there's this area down below it that we chose to, have this little area down below it that's just really mowed and kept up nice, and
right.
and Royal Green, thank you very much for all the work you've done over the years for doing that. But it's because we want to create an atmosphere, even though it's an intense atmosphere. It's just a nice. You can drive. Because
the inmates see down that hill, right? Some of them.
Yeah, at some of them, yeah. Some of if they have the windows in there, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which obviously, like keep them a little bit mellower.
They can watch the people playing mini golf, right?
Yeah. Say if they behave, you can go over there and get ice cream and mini golf.
Yeah. No, that's not.
So that's cool.
But I will tell you that it's gotten harder with the drop in local because of bail reform and many other reasons. It's harder to find people that can work in our kitchens, mow our areas. So that's been something that we've had to adjust to too.
Have trouble finding employees?
No, not employees. There's people that want to, while they're incarcerated, want to work.
Want to work.
In the laundry room, in the kitchen, or outside, mowing the yards. So.
Good.
Yeah. So.
That's good education.
Winchester. Tell me the story behind Winchester. I sort of think I understand it, but the city, the Keene school district, has given notice to Winchester that after the contract runs out, unless there's an agreement reached at some point, that that they won't be that they'll have to look at alternative places to send their students.
So I have to be careful a little bit what I say, because some of this was a non-public session thing. But as you read, Chris, basically what's happened is multiple times Winchester has told the Keene for the most part, they don't want to play by the same rules that the other schools sending students to Keene play by.
Yeah.
In other words, they want to pick and choose maybe some students that come here, or they can have the option to send them to another school district. And they've done this multiple times, and Keene has said, no, this is the contract. And I know I saw on the news how Winchester said, oh my God, we have no idea what you're talking about. They knew what we were talking about. Basically, we've told them, what you keep asking for is not doable, okay? You're saying you want to do something else, then we've said, okay, do something else. It's not like immediate. We're not like tossing them out this year or anything. Actually, the contract runs out another 2 to 3 years, but it's just saying what you want, we can't do. So unless you want to abide by the rules that every other town in Cheshire County plays sending their students to Keene, unless you want to abide by those rules, then go somewhere else. And that's all we've said.
Yeah.
And I know they came up and said, oh my God, we don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, you do. You know exactly what we were talking about, because you're the ones that have been pushing the envelope.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just basically just said, you want to go somewhere else, go somewhere else. And
what would that be? I mean, where have they been sending their other students? To Pioneer Valley, Hinsdale, or some other place? I mean,
I
mean, any student has a right to go wherever they choose to, but the school's choosing to send students is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically what they wanted to be able to pick and choose, and part of it is, year to year you have to know where your student level is going to be because of budgeting. And if year to year comes, like Winchester's saying, oh, we're going to send 130 this year. The next year they say, oh, we're only going to send 65. That totally changes the whole budget process around. You can't have that type of inconsistencies. So we've just said, here's our rules. You either agree to them or you don't. If you agree to them, fine. Your students are welcome in Keene. You pay tuition. But if you don't, and you don't want to abide by that, then you're more than welcome to find another school district, that'll go with whatever you're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's all we've said. But, it's not immediate. It's not like we're saying you can't send your students to Keene next year. We're just saying you have a decision to make. The ball is now in your court.
Yeah.
Here's our response to what we know you've been doing. The ball's in your court. You tell us which way you want to go. That's all we say.
How many students is that? About 120?
Yeah, about that, 120 to 130.
Yeah.
But like we said,
and the majority of those students, how many of those students are coming to Keene?
all of them. They send them all to Keene, and what they were basically just saying was, they wanted to be able to say, okay, we might want to send 65 to this school district and 65 to you. I don't know exactly what their plan was. I can't speak for them. I can just say they just wanted the rules to change where they could manipulate how many they were going to send.
Interesting.
And all we said was, no. And like I said, we were polite. We just said, no, it doesn't work for us. And if you want to look at another school district, you're more than welcome to, if they want to adhere to what you're looking for. But we're not going to. Because if we do that, then you're telling every other town that's sending students to Keene, you have to play by the rules, but Winchester didn't.
Okay.
And that's what it was. No, every town plays by the same set of rules if you want to send your students to Keene. Okay. And if you send them to Keene, you're going to get a damn good education.
Okay.
If you want to go somewhere else, that's your choice. So that's basically what happened there. But for them to act surprised, I'm like, come on, you weren't surprised.
So you got 4 candidates. You got the election next Tuesday, correct? For
Yep.
the adoption of the budget.
Yep.
Some warrant articles that are on there too for collective bargaining agreements, and then you've got 4 candidates. You've got a former superintendent. You've got 2 current board members.
Yep.
And
2
then
incumbents.
you have a young individual who just graduated from Keene.
Right.
And is running. Any
So
thoughts?
four
Did you go
people running
listen
for
to
3
them at all?
positions. I will say that the 2 incumbents, and one being the chair, are excellent school board members. And when I first got on school board,
you didn't make a lot of friends.
like I always tell people, you don't run for office to make friends.
No.
Want to make friends, you give out free tickets to Bruins games or whatever. So the 2 incumbents are excellent. George Downing is an excellent chair. I wouldn't want to be chair of the school board. It's like, and you've done it before. It's a full-time job within a part-time job. You've got to have a lot of time and commitment to be able to do that. And so they both have my 100% support. As far as the other 2 candidates coming in, you're right. One's a former superintendent, and one is the son of a state rep and a Keene High graduate. I have nothing bad to say about any of them. The 2 incumbents coming in, obviously one's a former superintendent.
I actually think this is one of the best cast of characters to vote for.
Right.
And that we've had, and it's not to take away from others, but there's going to be one person that's going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that one's going to be. It could be one of the board active members. It could be, the former superintendent, and it could be the young student.
Well, one of the things that happens, Chris, and you know this about school board votes, not a lot of people show up.
Yeah.
And whichever candidates get out the vote,
yeah,
they're the ones that are going to win, because it's not, even city council, the turnout's pretty bad, but the school elections are notoriously terrible. That's why you can hold the whole thing at the rec center. You can hold it. You can put 5 wards into one building and not worry about it.
Right.
So the unfortunate part is, it's a small percentage. I guess the fortunate part for the candidates is you get out and you push the vote. One of the hardest working people that ever ran for school board, and one was my son Sean. He knocked on every door everywhere. I mean, I was like, oh my God. And no, he did it. And then, of course, 6 months after he gets elected, he has a conflict of interest because they signed up the same law firm that he was working for at the time. But one thing that he proved was, you go out and you do the legwork, you'll get in. So with these 4, it's whoever does the legwork. And like I said, and like you just said, there's 4 damn good candidates. I mean,
has the union or the teachers come out and support anything? Yet.
I'm sure
and there's a group that's out there too.
They usually do kind of quietly. I don't know if they go public on their endorsements. I know when I ran, I don't remember getting a public endorsement. Yeah. When I ran, I think there was same thing. There was 4 of us running for 3 positions, and there was nobody. When I ran, there was nobody bad either. It was just one person just wasn't going to get in. That's all. And same thing. So that's good news for the taxpayers and the students of Keene. There's nobody getting in there that's I guess closed-minded or one-sided. I think all 4 candidates running see the need for a great education and see the need for a budget that's affordable to the community. 4 good candidates running for 3 positions. So we'll see. But my word of advice is go door to door, man. And look at who ran. If I was running for school board, I would look and see the voters that voted the last time. You can go to City Hall and get those that information. See who voted at the last school board and go knock on every one of their doors, because chances are you're going to get a vote. A little bit of effort goes a long ways.
Oh yeah, people remember it.
They do.
They remember little things.
When I ran for city council many years ago, I knocked on doors on the outskirts of Keene up in Ward 2, and I had people say they have never had a candidate of any persuasion knock on their door, local, state, or federal, because it was way out there.
And the thing I'll tell anybody that's listening that thinks they might be a candidate for whatever someday, don't go with the idea that you're going to talk to people. Go with the idea that you're just dropping off something and that they're seeing that you're taking the time to drop something off. Conversations come out of that. If you're going in looking to get into a conversation with every single voter, people don't want that on some levels. But what they do want is the effort. They want that. And out of those, a lot of times, I did have a lot of conversations with people because they were like, "Thank you for coming." And what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
They'll thank you. They will.
You have to think. And the great thing is that you have to think on your feet. You have to stick to your values and not try to kiss the or
kiss
try
the
to guess
ring.
or try to guess where the wind's blowing for this person.
Right.
Because you're going to get it wrong.
Oh, they'll loop you right around in a circle and burn you. Yeah. What I told people when I ran, and if I could see, because sometimes they would. Sometimes they'd play devil's advocate and they'd be trying to spin you up. And I'd say, look, you might not agree with me on every issue, but you'll know who I am. Yeah. And that's what I went on. And that's true in politics, because you're not going to agree on every issue. But you're right. If you start to answer every voter like what they want to hear, they'll read right through you. Yeah. They'll call you out. So to those school board members, you've got a few more days, another week. Yeah. Get out and pound the pavement. And as far as the budget goes, that's going to be interesting because of the $500,000 that about 60 people put back in the budget. I'm a little nervous on that one because the default budget now is like $1.6 million less than the regular budget. Sometimes the numbers are really close and people don't really care. I'm concerned that $1.6 million, some people could just go for the default budget, and that will put us on the school board really on our heels because
we've been there. We've done this before.
Where's that money going to come from?
We've done this before. When we lost when the voters came out and they said no, and by 22 votes to the new middle school, and then the next year we got 85% of the vote when we kicked it that year. But we also the voters didn't take the budget, and there was a $1.6 million difference between the two that we had to come up with.
Yeah. So where is that going to come from? Yeah. And it's not like, even though the school budget is astronomical, I admit that. When you go through it, when you get done with teachers, and when you get done with all the mandatory issues that you have to pay for, there's not a lot left. No. So I'm a little nervous on that. I wasn't all that in favor of the extra $500,000 going in. My honest to God opinion was it really wasn't needed. I thought, and that's why the school board didn't recommend it. We felt that we proposed an adequate budget without that $500,000. But in the end, it's who shows up. and we have 15,000 registered voters, and I think it was about 66 people put 500,000 back in the budget. And hey, that's how politics work. You know, you have to show up.
Yep.
So that's what they'll be voting on.
We got only about 20 some odd seconds.
Yeah, we babbled pretty incoherently for a quick hour.
Well, we'll be back next week with another episode. Hopefully, you can get. I'm going to hold you to the street stuff next week.
Yeah, street stuff. We'll talk about streets next week. So if you see us grocery shopping, ask us about your street.
Yeah,
we'll have an answer.
Not until after next week because I won't know because he hasn't told me yet.
Yeah, I won't tell him.
All right.
It won't be Gilson Street anyhow.
Have a great week.
Thanks.
Enjoy.
Bye.